Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my home birth experience and any questions or concerns you might have about going into having a home birth or even just a natural birth. A lot of these things will apply to that as well. Okay, so I'm going to get started right into it because this could be a long video if I don't just start going. Okay, so first I want to say I'm not a doctor, I'm not a midwife, but I am a mom of 3 babies. I've had them all naturally, and I've had 1 home birth. My last baby was a home birth. First, I'm going to talk about prenatal care and your options for prenatal care. So if you're having a home birth and you are going to have a midwife, there is also the option to go unassisted. For my home birth, I chose to have a midwife, and I kind of chose last minute. I think I was around 26 weeks when I finally hired my midwife. Some things to think about for prenatal care is how often you want to be seen. I was actually only seen twice, or was it 3 times? It was either 2 or 3 times before I had my baby. And that was just my choice. I have had no problems with my previous pregnancies. This pregnancy was actually, my last pregnancy, which was a home birth, was my healthiest pregnancy, so I didn't feel the need to be seen more than I needed to. It just kind of felt like a waste of her time and my time to be seen when I didn't have any reason to. If I would have had any numbers that didn't look right or anything like that, I obviously would have been seen more often. If I felt like things weren't going right or anything like that, then I would have been seen more often. I just didn't feel the need to. Another thing is this is another reason why it took me so long to hire a midwife, is I couldn't find one that I liked a whole lot. I had messaged many midwives. Well, it was 3 or 4 before I found the one that I actually ended up choosing. You want to find one that you feel comfortable with, that you trust. For me, it was finding one that I knew was going to be hands-off and really let me birth on my own, deliver my baby on my own. I didn't really want a lot of help or anything. Another thing with prenatal care is deciding what tests you think are important to take while you're pregnant. There's the glucose test. What other? Is that the only one? Why can't I think? Okay, well, there's different tests you can do while you're pregnant, I guess, ultrasound, stuff like that. I had 1 ultrasound at 20 weeks, and that was just to make sure everything was growing on track and everything like that. We didn't find out the gender, but that's also something that you can decide to do in your prenatal care. I also chose not to do the glucose test just because my last 2, I didn't have any issues, and this baby, I didn't have any issues either, so that wasn't something that was super important to me. Oh, the strep B, that's the other test that you can do. I also didn't do that. You can do some research on it, but you can be positive one day, the next day be negative. You can be positive the day before you deliver, the day that you deliver you can be negative. So that's something that you can just research on your own and make that decision on your own on what you want to do. But we chose not to even test for strep B with this baby, and we had no issues or anything like that. Everything went really good. Another thing is with prenatal care is you want to really get in the right mindset. So something that really helped me with all of my babies getting in the right mindset was reading books about natural birth and how to deal with pain. A book I recommend to a lot of moms is The Guide to Childbirth by Ina May, whatever. Gas can, or okay, I don't even know. I'll just insert a picture of the book that I'm talking about and you guys could just look it up, whatever. Watching positive natural home birth videos, or just even if you're, like I said, if you're going to a hospital birth videos, watching the positive stories. I really try not to watch videos that had a negative ending or a transfer or something goes wrong. Obviously you want to know what to do in those situations, and I'm going to get to that in a second, but for your mind, you don't really want to be dwelling on those things the most. You want to really be focusing on what women did to get through their pain, work through their labors and everything like that. So that's another thing, is how you want to deal with your pain in labor. All 3 of my babies I found that rocking back and forth helped me a lot, swaying, moving my hips a lot. Listening to music really helped, just like calm my mind and stuff, listening to worship music. That really helped me just calm myself. So with my first daughter, I delivered her in a hospital. My son, I delivered at a birthing center, which was very amazing. The reason I chose to do a home birth is because I had really quick labors with I ended up having quick labors with all three, so I just chose, and I didn't want to have to labor in the car again because that was really not fun. So that's another reason I chose to do a home birth. And also just to be at home, not have to be worried about being hooked up. That's another great thing about home births, is you don't have to worry about being hooked up to an IV. You don't have to be worried about being monitored all the time. So another thing with your prenatal care is your birth plan. So I'm going to talk more about that. With your birth plan, what I did with all three of mine was wrote down on a piece of paper like what I wanted for my birth, how I wanted it to go, who I wanted in the room with me, who I wanted coming over while I was in birth, ways I wanted to birth, rooms I wanted to birth in. I had a birthing room, my birthing sanctuary, I called it, with my daughter I had at home, and I'll insert pictures of that here. You want to really have everything planned out in your head. Obviously, things will always go differently than you planned. I've learned that with all three of my kids. Things are going to go differently, but also you want to have a plan in your head so you have an idea of how you want things to go. That's helped me with all of my kids to really just like stay on track while I'm in labor. Things that you're going to need for your home birth, if you plan to go that route. A lot of midwives will provide a lot, but there's still things that you want to have on hand, especially if, like in my instance, the midwife didn't make it in time. So you want to have things on hand if that happens. And also, just usually your midwife will also give you a list of things that she wants you to purchase. Those include like chucks, the like pads you put down, the waterproof pads, adult diapers for postpartum. You'll want a peri bottle. I had womb string and shepherd's purse. It's a supplement you take for after. Those helped so much with my pain after birth. Your midwife will usually have like the clamps for the umbilical cord, but if they don't, or if you want to, you can have like one made. So you want to figure out what you want to do. There's the plastic option, there's like the plastic clamps, there is, you can buy string ones that you tie on. So once you figure out your midwife, you figure out where you want to birth, how you want to labor in your house. I had my room downstairs that I planned on birthing in, and I think I just had it so set in my head that I would be giving birth in there that I really didn't have another plan. I kind of knew like if I all of a sudden wanted to be in the bed and deliver in the bed, that it would be easy just to move a couple things up there that we would need. That was another thing. I had all of my stuff in like a little box so that it would be easy to get, easy to find, easy to move if we needed to move it and stuff like that. So really, some people, they don't really even go in with a plan on where they're birthing. They just kind of let it happen how it happens. But I had kind of already had set in my mind that I would be delivering in my birthing room. So thankfully it all went as planned and I was able to do that. Some of these topics, if you want to see more on, just let me know and I'll make another video on it. But for the sake of this video, I'm kind of just going to skim over a lot of these things. And you can always ask in the comments down below too if you have any questions or anything like that, and I'll answer them the best I can. So another thing is being prepared for labor and what could go wrong, because although you don't want to dwell on what can go wrong, you still want to be prepared to know what to do in case things do go wrong. So a couple things that can go wrong is a cord around the neck when you deliver. So if there is a cord around the neck, Sometimes it'll make the baby's cord shorter. So if you're, it'll make the baby's cord shorter if it's around the neck. Sometimes it's not a problem at all. But other times the mom will be pushing and there's a cord around the neck, so the baby's not able to, or they will be able to come out eventually, but it could cause damage because it could pull the placenta out too quickly and stuff like that. So sometimes you'll be wanting to watch as you're delivering the head if there is a cord around the neck, and just sometimes you can just easily just loop it off the neck if you need to, but sometimes it's not an issue. So I would just say wait until you notice that it's an issue and then do something about it. If they come out with a cord around their neck, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly normal. You'll just want to take it off. I've seen a cord wrapped around a baby's neck 4 times and the baby was perfectly fine. Another thing, if the baby comes out not breathing. I've also seen moms give birth and their baby doesn't breathe for almost a minute after being delivered. Obviously you want to keep a close eye on them and watch, but they are coming, if they're coming either in a water birth or just a regular vaginal birth, it is a huge difference coming out of you and then they're in the real world. It's a really big shock on them and difference. So sometimes it will take them time to start breathing, but also know that they are connected to your, if they're still connected to the placenta, which they should be, they're still getting oxygen. So you don't really need to worry a whole lot if they're not breathing right away. Some people would like freak out and be like, oh my gosh, the baby's not breathing, but you really just need to stay calm, give the baby a second, pat their back, stuff like that. You can also have like a nose Frida on hand, so if you do feel like they need help, you can suction them. I know with mine, because I saw it in a lot of home birth videos, a lot of moms will just suck their baby's nose or mouth, literally just put their mouth on their mouth or nose or whatever and suck. And I actually ended up doing that with Viola. I don't really know if she like I don't think she really needed it, but it was just kind of like instinct to do it. Like I didn't even think about it. I didn't even realize I did it until I was watching the video back and I saw that I did that. But that's also another thing that you can do to help assist them if you think they need the assistance. Another thing is while you're delivering the baby is shoulder dystocia. I think I'm saying that right, but I might not be. Anyways, what that is, I'll put a kind of picture up on the screen here. So a lot of times, I don't know a whole lot on this topic, so I would suggest researching this as well if you're planning on having a home birth. But there is a lot of things that you can do. There's a certain position, I forget what it's called. There's a position you can, I think it's on your hands and knees, and you like spread your legs. You're on your hands and knees and you separate your legs, but that helps get the baby moved. Sometimes your midwife or partner might need to stick their hand up there, and as you're pushing, kind of get the shoulder, push the shoulder over, kind of, they call it like corkscrewing, like you kind of turn it so that it can get through. So that's something to really look into too if you're planning on having a home birth, is just knowing what to do, what positions are best when you are experiencing that. And a lot of times when this is happening, when the shoulder is getting stuck, moms will have a lot of pain in their hips. From what I've like seen and heard and everything, is they'll have a lot more pain in their hips than anything else with contractions. So that's just something to look out for. After birth, another big thing is hemorrhaging, bleeding too much. Also, you want to like just, I know after I had Viola at home, I was really just like trying to like pay attention to my body and how I was feeling. Like, was I feeling super weak? Because my midwife didn't show up till almost 20-30 minutes after I delivered my daughter. I had to really like be in tune with my body and like pay attention to how I was feeling. So shepherd's purse is something that can help with the bleeding, to help slow the bleeding. So before the placenta is delivered, you can take that. It's just a supplement you put into water and just drink. A reason why a lot of moms get transferred, but there is things you can do to slow the bleeding too. Some midwives will carry Pitocin on them, so if that is like absolutely needed, you can do that. But with all 3 of my babies, I bled actually with Ivy, my first 2, I bled quite a bit, and with Viola, I bled the less, and that was the one I took the shepherd's purse with. So I really do think that helped a lot. You want to have ideas on how you can deal with the pain. So for me, I knew standing in different positions, getting in the shower, to help see if that helped ease the pain at all. Those were things that I had planned and thought of before going into labor that I would do to help with the pain. So there's so many different ways you can deal with your pain. I know there's the Bradley method, there's hypnobirthing, there's just so many different options. So you want to really look into all those options and see which one you think will best suit you, and just to have like different options, just because you never know, you might have one plan and then you go into labor and you realize it's not helping at all. So you want to have options. You want to know what your options are. So I think, let me see here. So yeah, I think the biggest things for having a home birth is having a birth plan, having the things you need, so along with your birth, writing out a birth plan. You'll want to write out a list of things that you need to have for the baby by the time you have the baby. I can put like kind of a rough draft of a list, but also I know online there's like so many different sites you can go to, and they'll tell you kind of like, you can buy even kits of things that you'll need for your birth. And you want to prepare mentally also is another really big thing that I think is so important, is preparing your mind and preparing your body and just being healthy throughout your pregnancy. A big thing, one of the biggest things I can say is just trust your body and stay calm. Just really try to focus on the end result and not the pain that you're in that moment, because it's over pretty quick. Even like moms that I know that have been in like labor for 24 hours, so many of them are like I would do it again in a heartbeat. Like it's so painful while you're in the moment, but at the end of it, it's usually worth it. So the last thing I want to touch on is just after labor, which the 4th trimester it's called, which so many people seem to look over, but it's so important, I think. You want to, especially if you have other kids, you want to have food prepped. So my sister made me a bunch of frozen meals. We had our church delivered us like one meal, I think. Not the church we're currently going to, our old church, so no shade. But you want to have food ideas and stuff, either a meal train or whatever it is, because that will take a huge load off your shoulders if you can have that help. Also, what help you want to have around you, if you want any help, and planning that help. So we had my mom, my mother-in-law, we had my sister, my sister-in-laws. They were all here a lot, and they were like super helpful, because I knew after I had my last baby, after I had my baby at home, that I really wanted to rest as much as I could, because with my other two, I was up and moving way too soon, and it took my body a lot longer to heal. This 3rd baby was my best pregnancy and my best postpartum as well, because I really took the time for the whole first, like full first week pretty much. I just laid in bed almost all day long, which was kind of hard for me to do, because I am somebody who likes to get up and do things, but I knew it was going to be best for myself and my body, and it really helped with my bond with Viola, and I think it really helped with our nursing journey as well. Your midwife will do postpartum appointments with you and for the baby. I didn't go and see a doctor for myself at all, just because I never felt the need to. That's another thing, I didn't tear at all during my labor, so, which this was my only labor that I didn't labor on my back, and this is my only labor that I didn't tear either. So that's just a couple of the things that I could think of that really were important for my home birth. But obviously, if you guys have any questions, or if you want me to expand on a topic or a part of my home birth, or if you just want me to tell you my whole story about my home birth more in depth just for myself, just let me know, and that's something I could always do. But that is all I have for this video. I hope this was helpful. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you want to see anything else, just let me know down below, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.